Okay, I know this is like the third sword video in a row now, but the next one will be something else, I promise. Anyway, after a little under 2 weeks, I have once again managed to finish my sword-only GM climb this throwback rotation while picking up a decent win streak along the way. I spent the first half playing standard Evo Sword as you might have seen in my earlier videos, but for the second half I decided I wanted to play something a little different, so in today's Evo Sword list I decided to put in the Princess Connect duo of Pecorin and Shizuru, mainly because as a Princess Connect fan I felt like playing with them. Unfortunately I didn't have space for Princess Knight this time, so we had to take him out. By the way, this time's video will feature more preamble than usual, so feel free to use the video chapters to skip to the deck list if you're not interested in that. Now, if you've been paying attention to popular Evo Sword lists, you will find that no one actually plays these two in the deck. I can't give you the definitive reason why, but here's my best guess. If you've tried playing or perhaps building this deck, you will find that one of the key points for a good Evo Sword list is a balanced range of commanders and officers. This deck has quite a few commander and officer tutors, and being able to draw the right cards of these searches can be very important for how this deck plays. Adding in 3 copies each of another commander and a new officer as well can make your plays more awkward. For example, drawing Shizuru off Amelia is bad since she costs 4 and therefore can't be played off Amelia's 3 play point discount. While Pecorin as a commander makes it harder to find Amelia and Rigo off your Gelt. This can also be even worse if you're running King's Welcome because she gets in the way of that as well. These are all moments that can make or break your plays for the turn and can even lose you games. So what do you even get for running these 2 cards anyway? Well, Pecorin is okay as a turn 3 play against decks that either can't or don't clear a board early, but her true value lies elsewhere. First, her Union Burst effect buffs her stats while dealing 5 damage to an enemy follower, which can be useful for answering enemy boards while building your own. In the worst case scenario, she can also answer 2 followers for the price of 1. Unfortunately though, her buffs are a lot harder to abuse in this expansion when Leod isn't around to give her ambush anymore, but she's still a pretty nice activator for Lady of the Lands, since she's a commander that actually likes sitting in your hand. Shizuru's main value honestly is probably just as a turn 4 play. This deck is actually surprisingly lacking in good plays to make in turn 4. When you're going first, you're usually playing a 3 play point follower and then floating 1 PP, and going second, you usually end up evolving Levin Beastmaster and then having 2 play points left over with nothing much to play with it. In these cases, Shizuru can help round out your plays, because going first, it works as a big ward that can protect your other followers as you hopefully manage to make good use of the tempo advantage from going first to chip your opponent down. And going second, she can answer a follower, heal used for some of the early damage you might have taken from your opponent, as well as being a big 5-7 ward your opponent has to answer. A Union Burst to deal 3 damage to the enemy leader is quite nice, but it is a bit less impactful this time since there's a lot more healing in this format compared to Ultimate Colosseum. It also still cheese you lethals through wards, so you gotta look out for that. And her free evo can also come in clutch sometimes for hitting evo count breakpoints in the late game, especially when you're going first. Do I think they're worth running if you're only interested in winning as much as possible? Probably not. The large number of Evo Sword lists that don't include them can't all be wrong, and the deck's also a lot more expensive if you put them in. I mean, it won't stop me from playing the characters from one of my favorite gacha games though, so let's finally jump into the deck list. So this is the list that we'll be running for today's video. You can see it's very similar to standard Evo Sword lists. I guess there are a few points of note, so I should mention them. The first is that we took out copies of Mirror Image and King's Welcome, mainly to have space for Shizuru as well as Pecorin, but also King's Welcome is just quite bad. Honestly, in this list, when you have so many different commanders to draw off of it, it's just not consistent enough. As I had to cut out a few other cards as well to make space for them, so Stefa Samurai is at 2, Ladies of the Lands is at 2, and Zelganea is also at 2. Lady of the Lands at 2 is a bit of a weird choice, I think, since we have more commanders in this deck. That's one of the few benefits of running Pecorin is having more commanders, so Lady of the Lands is actually active more often with this list, so it might be worth running more copies of her. Other than that, Zelganea at 2 is a bit annoying since sometimes you just draw both copies and then you can't invoke him for your finisher. But I think there isn't really any other good places to cut down cards on except maybe Alyaska or something. So yeah, this is the list we'll be running, so let's jump into the games. So our first game will be one against Sword here, and we are going second. I guess generally Sword will be Evo Sword, although rarely is like decently popular as well. Either way, going first is generally favored in the mirror, but here we are going second. So for the mulligan, we can see we kept Shield Phalanx and Kagemitsu. Mainly you just look out for your early game plays when you're going second, I think. So Kagemitsu is nice early on, especially against Sword. You see this turn we have nothing to do, so we just pass. Opponent drops Honorable Thief here, which is relatively good for me since that's one less free evo they have later on to make use of. So we go ahead and play Shield Phalanx just to protect our face. Gives it a trade target for Kagemitsu here, but it's fine. So we can go ahead and drop the Gelt here. The Kagemitsu comes out here, but Gelt, it under trades into Gelt, so it's fine. Even if they trade in, our Gelt still lives, so they have to do something extra if they want to clear Gelt. They end up just using Mirror Image on Kagemitsu, so they're gonna have another one coming out next turn, which is a bit scary, but it's fine. We have nothing to do here, so we just go ahead and use our own Kagemitsu to set up next turn. And evolve the Gelt once again to force their Kagemitsu to under trade if they want to trade into Gelt. And also just for the Evo count, because both Pecorine and as well as our various Evo payoffs want it, so yeah. Well, it's another Kagemitsu here, so this is gonna be their third Kagemitsu coming out. Just if you're keeping track, they've played 2 Kagemitsus and they've used a Mirror Image to make one. As you can see, my opponent passed with 2 play points left over, probably just to deny me a trade target in Kagemitsu, so that makes sense to me, but in this case we could have went Amelia of course, but I feel like trying to protect this Kagemitsu with a Ward and 11 Beastmaster is a bit better. Plus we can also make good use of this Lady of the Lands here who gets her commander effect active since we have so many commanders in hand. And then making it very difficult for my opponent to clear this. Opponent drops the Faerun here, which is completely fine. It's actually fairly weak turn from them, so we are pretty happy with that. And then we'll go ahead and evolve the Faerun as well, trade into the Tiger, and probably Kagemitsu goes into the Beastmaster. So we got to keep the Lady of the Lands here, which I mean was the goal with this turn's play, so that's fine. This is a good setup turn. We don't necessarily have to play Amelia here as well. And save it for next turn when she gets a free evo. So go ahead and evolve the Lady of the Lands here, drop Pecorine as well. Just put pressure on board with 2 big followers, especially one with a damage shield. Probably makes it impossible for my opponent to clear both unless they let Amelia evolve, have a Lady of the Lands, and it happens to have Bane as well. My opponent drops Honorable Thief here, which is fine. They do get the evil count up, but our Lady of the Lands once again survives. You can see this very sturdy Lady of the Lands thanks to our Pecorine, or rather just commanders in general, giving her the damage shield early on. And Archon's a bunch of our followers here. You can drop Amelia alongside it. The best use for Faerun, I think, in this deck is just try to line it up with a turn where you can build a massive board to make use of her +1/+1, of course. You can make a board my opponent can't answer, especially against Sword. You can win the game on the spot usually. In this case, we go ahead and buff our Kagemitsu. And we keep our damage shield on Amelia as well, so my opponent should have a lot of trouble with this board, hopefully. They do have Alyaska, unfortunately, though, so combined with Gelt, I believe this, yeah, they have enough evos to play Exterminator's Weapon this turn as well, so they will be able to get rid of all my big stuff. Which is unlucky, but it's fine. So we do have to leave the Faerun here, fortunately for us, I guess. Got Pecorine here. Go ahead and play the other lands, and this is just lethal actually, so yeah, that's it for this game, I guess. Let's move on to the next one. So our next game here is against Forest, and we are going first. Forest is probably something like Roach Forest. It can be annoying. We do have some wards that help protect us, but they also have a lot of survivability, which is good against us, so it's a bit either way. But mulligan, once again, we just look for our early game cards, so we keep Shield Phalanx here. If you already see like 1 or 2 early game cards, then you can keep Amelia, but if you don't see any, you should probably toss Amelia as well. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and just look to play Shield Phalanx here, I guess. Honorable Thief is like deceptively not early game card. You really don't want to be playing it early. You can if you have to, but you prefer not to. So there's that. In this case, we go ahead and play 11 Beastmaster over Honorable Thief. I think the Evo on Honorable Thief is more important. 11 Beastmaster's Evo is of course important, and so is its enhanced 6 against Forest, but in this case I feel like Honorable Thief's Evo is contributes more directly to an actual win condition, so we look out for that. Here Kokoro so they can't bounce her, and then we just go ahead and hit in the face. Use Shizuru to protect our 11 Beastmaster here hopefully, but unfortunately they do have the Elf Queen, which will be able to clear my board. And they just passed, which is fine. They didn't bounce it, which is good for us. What I'm gonna do here, we go ahead and just drop a second Shizuru. We evolve as well. We can get our rally count up for Honorable Thief as well as work on Peperine's Union Burst count. And out comes the Roach, so they are going to be they're gonna start working towards their win condition here. They will go ahead and evolve their Roach. It is at 3 now, we gotta keep track of that so that we know when to watch out for flying to the Roach. This turn, nothing else to do, we just go ahead and drop the 11 Beastmaster Enhance for 6. Evolve her as well for the Union Burst as well as the extra ward. Never hurts to have too many wards against Forest, especially untargetable wards that can't be cleared by something like the Airbound Barrage or the Resolve of the Fallen. We'll go ahead and keep going with that Roach condition here. Okay, we also clear a bunch of our followers. We have a bunch of wards available for us though, so we're not in too bad of a position at this point. I'm gonna pick out another 11 Beastmaster, which is very nice. We can try to push at some advantage here. We don't quite have to worry about Roach killing us yet next turn, so we go ahead and drop the Pecorine here behind a ward. Hopefully we can get it to go face and get some advantage that way. It also puts us at rally 11 this turn, so next turn we get Feyran, but unfortunately they do have Zelganea, which will snipe our Pecorine, and there's the Feyran. This is a bit unfortunate, like wasting the face damage here, but and also wasting the Feyran, but I think getting the wards up is a bit important here. We go ahead and get more wards with the Beastmaster again. Opponent drops the Romantic Chanteuse. Other season as well, so it looks like they couldn't really clear this. At this point I am a bit worried that because they're not trying to clear my board, it looks like they're about to have lethal soon, so unfortunately for them though, we do have lethal this turn by clearing our Beastmaster and using the Regal Wildcat. So that's it for this game, let's move on to the next game. So for our last game for today, we have a game against Shadow and we are once again going second. We had Kagemitsu here, we definitely want to keep that. The other two aren't great for the early game, so we just toss them. Got Pecorine and Shizuru, which is not bad. Pecorine might be useful in the early game, depending on what we see. Generally though, Shadow does have Savoring Slash, so we don't really want to play Pecorine early on. Opponent goes ahead and drops the Cloistered Christian, which is somewhat annoying. We go ahead and play Beastmaster for tempo here. It does open it up to clearing it, but we have Shizuru for our Evo turn anyway, so we are not too worried about the Beastmaster getting cleared. We just want the tempo. And then here, because we have a bunch of Pecorine in hand, we can use Lady of the Lands to pick up her damage shield, which should make it very sturdy against them. My opponent goes ahead and accelerates their He Who Wants Rock, summon a bunch of assembly droids. We're just gonna go ahead and evolve the Beastmaster here to get more damage, as well as summon a bunch of wards to annoy them. We have no obligation to clear these assembly droids for them, so we're just gonna go ahead and just focus on hitting them in the face until they die. We go ahead and play Milteo here, which is very scary, which with their two the Christians, which will both pop out of their crystallizers, and also because they got Feyran off the Milteo, which means that their whole bulk will get buffed as well, which is very obnoxious, but yeah, so very much I guess a counter play from them, I guess, from our advantage. Now we are suddenly on the back foot a little bit here. Go ahead and manual evolve the Kagemitsu. We really don't really want to do it, but I kind of have to. Plus, it helps get Pekarin's Union Burst active so I can answer their board. And we trade so that we leave Kagemitsu alive, of course. A bit of Shuten Doji here, which will be able to give their one attack follower star from this point, which is gonna be something to watch out for, I guess. We go ahead and trade. There goes our Kagemitsu. We do keep the Lady of the Lands here, where the Bane might be helpful at some point. So go ahead and evolve Lady of the Lands. Honestly, not the best play. Well, they probably did it. No, it's fine, I think. We evolve Lady of the Lands to chip them down damage here. Goes to put them low enough so that anything can kill them off the top. Just savoring stuff to my opponent. And Faerun, hopefully something like Aliaska's Exterminator's Weapons last words might be able to finish them off at this point. Or if we just top that Regal our cat, they're just dead. Same applies to that fast Samurai. So that's why we went face here, but unfortunately we don't pick any of what we want up. So in order to survive this time, we go ahead and play Zelganea just to draw into our deck. We pick out Steadfast Samurai here, so we can definitely look for lethal at some point here. Here's the Shuten Doji. And they will evolve their Faerun as well. And they clear out Zelganea and then a Ghost. Thankfully no wards, so we can go ahead and just finish them off with Steadfast Samurai. So yeah, that's it for this game, I guess. I think that's all the games I have for you today, so let's move on to the closing deck review or something. So those are all the games I have for you today. Hopefully it gave... I know I've been showing a lot of Evo Sword gameplay in the past like 2 weeks or so, but hopefully this time you got to see the Presence Connect cards putting in some work. Like, they're not just dead weight, even though they're probably not the most optimal choice for the Evo Sword list. Personally, I actually prefer this version more than a regular Evo Sword, but obviously I'm biased because, I like the Princess Connect cards to begin with, so I even animated Pekarin just for this, so yeah. Once again, this deck is even more expensive than previous versions of this list. If you couldn't afford a previous Evo Sword list, you probably can't afford this one. Next video will be on a cheap deck, so if you're looking for a cheap deck to play, hopefully that will help you. I'll probably upload that tomorrow. Finally have some free time to actually record stuff, so yeah. Anyway, that's it for today. See you next time. Bye bye.